Good afternoon, beautiful beings of light. Welcome to the Crone Zone Conversations with the Ancients. Today, we're lucky to have Terri Suzuki of Kigaru Spiritual Journeys. And we're lucky to have our friend Heather back in the chair. Yay!
Yeah, I'm not in the bed. Yeah.
Hi, everybody in the chat. Starfish, great to see you here. Juno Spear, yay! Glad to see you guys in the chat room.
Yeah.
It's lovely to be here. Thank you, Terri, for being here with us. It's really nice to be back at the table with the two of us. So thanks for joining us today.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you for inviting me. I so appreciate that you two will invite me to tell my wacky tales.
I love your wacky tales.
We love your wacky tales.
Terri's tales.
Yes.
Hi, Amanda. Good to see you here today. Oh yeah, Terri's tales are a hit, I do believe, and they're always so full of love and so beautiful. The stories are just incredible, just amazing. So everybody likes to hear them.
Yeah, well, the thing is that even though sometimes these are way out there, I'm always learning from them. There's always a lesson to be learned. And what I do like also is some of the people in the chat have actually, listened to my tales and borrowed from them. Like one person, borrowed an angel healing that she heard about and then borrowed from another reader and went and did a big healing. And it's like, okay,
that's cool.
Okay. Yeah.
I like the healings they do with the light liquid over your head.
Yes, it's really interesting. And so that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the angel healings that I've seen and the grace of God in action. Because a lot of times I'm out there reading and then I see the grace of God happen. And it's so different than what I was taught as a child in Christianity. But yet I know it's true. I know deep in my heart that I've just learned the truth.
In your heart. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I
White Dragon and Warrior Girl. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I really, really love the audience members. And Juno was just mentioning journeys. And recently, that's what I've been doing, taking people on spiritual journeys because I have to do that for a room full of real people in about a week.
Real people.
We're not real.
They're not real people. They're not really normal people because they're at a psychic fair, so they're good too.
Right.
Yeah. Most of them are just like us.
Right. Well, Starfish in the audience, she says, "Don't worry about it, Terri." She says, "I know that only the people that can hear this message will come to this. So if
Exactly.
you want to it, we're supposed to be there. So
the ones that are there are supposed to be there. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, so I'm not worrying about it.
Fabulous, because all of us that have journeyed with you know how fun it is.
Yeah.
And I'm sure most of the people in the chat room have journeyed with you and know.
Yeah.
But also,
when you
might want to talk about, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You might want to talk about the journeys that you're doing later this evening and tomorrow.
Tomorrow and Wednesday. Yeah,
Wednesday.
I'll talk a little bit about it. Is that what you wanted to remind me, Heather?
No, what I was going to say, what helps, I think, one of the best things that helps is talking about everything afterwards. Because as people talk, the other people realize, oh, maybe that's something that they recognize that some other things have happened to them.
Right.
That they went through in there, but they didn't even think about. But having other people talk about them helps them realize everything that went on.
Yeah. So I'll just...
That's always... I love that part.
I'll just describe a journey, a little, kind of what happens with a journey. most of the time they're one-on-one, but recently Spirit has been pushing me to take multiple people on journeys. And that's how I got into this, where I got to take a whole room full of live people on a journey. But what happens is first when the people join me, I describe what a journey's like, how that we might go anywhere. We might stay on this earth, but we might go in space and time somewhere else. And generally what happens on these journeys is we often get a healing or an upgrade of some sort. And we often then talk to a higher being who gives us some information. In the journey I just did with you two, we got to talk to two really important beings and got some very interesting information. And then a lot of times,
and gifts.
Yeah, you always tend to get a gift on these journeys. It is a spiritual gift, but you often can feel it enter your hand. Or in this last time, they just put boxes out for us to choose a box, whatever box appealed to you. And then we always ask what do we do with this gift? Because I have taken a gift before and then not known what to do with it forever. I was carrying it around with me spiritually forever and did not know what to do. So we always ask, thank them.
Well, I don't know what to do with the one I got this time. I have not found out what it's for yet.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have time to ask for what do I do with the big square block of pinkness, which came from your higher self in one journey. So I have a big block of pinkness that I'm not quite sure what to do with. And then they also let us play. They always, usually it comes first. We get to do something fun and playful. And then, but we're learning from that too. The play is still educational.
It is.
So it's really interesting. It's a kind of an astral journey that we're all taking at the same time. You don't have to be clairvoyant like me to take the journey. You can use whatever clairs. You can use whatever clairs you have. And I try to take time during the journey to ask people what they're experiencing. If they want to share, don't want to share, don't have to share. If you don't want your camera on, you don't have to have your camera on. You want to take the little nameplate and put something else other than your name, that's okay too. You just got to be with us. And then at the end, we do a little debrief because sometimes, I'm experienced doing this, so I can easily kind of stop or go back, or, I can roll with this a little bit, but other people might have a hard time staying in the journey if they have to suddenly describe what's happening to them. So
that's why I kept my screen picture up. I turned it off because I'd come right out of it if I had to go talk.
Yeah, and you don't want to come out of it. So
No.
So that was interesting. So I'm going to be doing two more practice journeys, one on Monday night and one on Wednesday. I say night, but what I mean is I think Monday is 5 p.m. Pacific time. And you have to have the Zoom link to do it. And on Wednesday, it's 3 p.m. Pacific time. So I'm trying to be able to hit both coasts, like.
Okay, your information is in the description of this video. It has a link, so anybody that wants to know what time and what days and all of that she's going to do these journeys on Zoom, just go over there and shoot her an email so she can send you the link.
Yeah. And a lot of people actually in the chat are already. I have a very big email list right now that I've been sending them to, trying to lure people to go on the journey with me, because I have to build up my ability to take multiple people. So
right.
Yeah. Well,
it'll be interesting to see how many come tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Or Monday night. Yeah. Tomorrow night.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
It will.
I'm planning to. I don't know. I never know what's going to happen in this house, but we're both planning to do it again
Right.
tomorrow night
Mhm.
and probably Wednesday night as well because it's just
I'm
fun.
I also am going to tell you that half the time I don't know what's going to happen either. I don't pre-plan these. The spirit has been very, very good to me in that at least in these multiple journeys like this, that they've been giving me at least a heads up on either how we're going to get there, what transportation we're going to
Right.
take, or where we're going. And that's helpful to reduce my anxiety that I may end up on Zoom with a room full of people and not know where we're going.
A little
So,
anxious. I can
yeah,
understand that totally.
yeah. So
For
that's good.
sure.
Well, let's talk about some of the things I've seen in different readings.
Yeah,
Uh,
anything that's trending right now, maybe something that's seems to trend in your readings right now.
I'm going to talk. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with the angel healings because that really is a trend. In fact,
Mhm.
Perfect.
the other day, the last time I was on with Allie, I think on Sunday, that my guide stopped me and they did an angel healing on somebody. And
Wow.
actually, a lot of people were listening. Anybody could accept the healing as well. And it was really interesting. So I see these, whether I read on Zoom or whether I read live. But it's always really, really interesting. So what I've noticed is when somebody needs a healing, like an emotional healing, the angels show up and they do the healing. And I don't know if I can ask for that to happen. I haven't yet. I just when they show up, then we talk about it. And so here's in
Just
general what happens when I see angels who want to heal people. They come with a great big drop of liquid. So the angels are very tall. So in my head, I see the angel, or in my vision, the angel's pretty tall. They're always a very majestic. They're just wonderful, and they're usually carrying this drop of liquid they're holding it about chest high, and it's all the way to the floor. This very large drop of liquid. When it first started, when I first saw these a lot, the liquid was always metallic, like molten gold or molten silver. And
right.
slowly over time, the colors are changing based on what people need.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so I think I've actually described this particular healing once before on your show, but I'm going to do it again. So one of the very first times that it happened in person, where I'm face to face with somebody at a fair reading them, the and also I want to say that the first healings I'm going to talk about are all about romance, about
Huh.
love, which I don't know about you, but as a psychic medium, the questions I don't love to read on is about romance and love.
Mhm.
Sure. Sure.
They feel a little scarier, a little like I could be wrong. Well, because you can change the future with a different choice, easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these
Yeah.
all though are about romance and love, and I think these you could take to the bank. They're
Right.
really really intense.
Mhm.
So the first one that happened was a young woman, I want to say maybe late 20s, early 30s, and she came in and she was a little heartbroken and she said, Terry, I have just wrecked a relationship. My first really serious long term relationship, I wrecked it. It's all my fault. I was scared and fearful he was going to cheat. I questioned him too much. I controlled too much. She said, would you read if that I'm ever going to have another relationship. She felt like she would never have another.
Wow.
And so as I tuned into her spirit, right away, an angel showed up, and it was the angel Itimo. And he came with a big drop of gold liquid. And so as he stood there, he didn't say anything at first. He just stood there, and then I'm still kind of tuning into her energy, and then I see that he's showing me something. So on the left, he's on the left hand, but on the lefter hand of the stage is now this cliff. And the cliff looks like the kind of like the cliffs of Dover in England or something. It's kind of a sandstone, a chalky thing.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of above her, I kind of see her whole self, her
Higher self.
her higher self up there. I see her, and then I see her again down on the floor by this chalky cliff, just chiseling away at this cliff, just maniacally chiseling away at this cliff. And also, this third version of her I recognized was a lower version of her, even lower than her 3D version. It looked a little cavemanish, like definitely.
Freaks me out. That totally freaks me out. Like our lower selves are in action. Eek.
Yeah. And she's chiseling away maniacally. And I asked the angel, what is she doing? And he said, she's so fearful. She's fearful of what's going on in the relationship. She's carving the relationship she wants. She's trying to control it and carve it and go in. And he's showing me that it's a base fear. It's not something she's in her head trying to do. It's something base driving her. And he says, I can heal her. I would like to heal her. I want to put this drop of liquid in her and let it heal her. He said, but she has to agree. So that's the other thing that I've noticed with all the angel healings that I'm seeing. People have to agree. If they don't want to do it, they don't have to do it. But it's not something that the angels will force on anybody.
It's kind of like anything you have to ask.
Right.
For any information, we have to ask.
They can't do anything unless we say, please do it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never really thought of it that way, but that makes sense. That if we have to ask, they have to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So I explained to her what was going to happen, and she said yes. And so the angel put the drop on her head, and it just slowly started incorporating with her body. And he said to me, this will happen this healing will happen very, very slowly. It will dissolve this fear in her, but it has to happen extremely slowly, or else she will be completely fearless suddenly and do lots of stupid stuff. So so this will be very, very slow. And she accepted that. It came in. And then I went on, and they allowed me to read on, will she have another relationship? Which she will. She will have another long-term. She'll have a couple starters and then one long-term. And
that's nice.
Yeah. So that's really cool. But it really, really is amazing me when I see these angels show up.
And what does an angel look like to you? What do they look like to you?
They're just big. They're a big presence. They just look like a person. In general, they might just have kind of robes on. They don't look fancy. They don't always have even wings.
Do they look more like energy?
Or do they have faces
or
of things?
Or do they have faces? Can you?
No, right now they have faces for me. They do look
That's
like
cool.
humans. Yeah.
Interesting.
And some are more fancy than others. It just,
No, I just got that they are that way for you so that they don't scare you.
I do think
True.
so. I think that they I don't want to say dull down, but they
Tone it down
they
a bit for
Mhm.
they tone it
humanity.
down a little bit so that I'm not like blown off my chair suddenly.
Yeah,
Um,
Exactly. Yeah,
that makes
they do that
sense.
so that it doesn't scare you.
That makes
yeah,
perfect
because
That's what I
sense.
got.
they're very powerful. I mean, even though I'm seeing something that looks like kind of a human representation, I know them by their spirit. I know
Yes.
them by, like, how did I know it was Itimo? He didn't say, "Hi, I'm Itimo. I just got here." You know, I just knew.
Hmm.
I just somehow
Yeah.
knew
No.
their energy. Yeah. And anyway, so there's a couple other healings. So one was it was really interesting. I was practicing in a practice session with my friend Sun Psychic Jean and others, and I kept seeing red sneakers with gold wings on them, like the goddess Nike. I kept
Mhm.
seeing those in a lot of readings, and I thought, huh.
Huh.
And it meant something for who I was reading for, but I just, I just didn't think about it. But I had encountered them a lot that week. And suddenly here I was in front of a lady asking me to just do a general reading for her. And I looked down and she was wearing the red shoes. She was
No.
wearing red tennis shoes. And
No.
I could see little wings on them, even though there weren't actually any physical rings on them. I'm like, ooh, she's got something going on. So they do alert me when I'm
I love
reading
that
somebody who's of a higher spiritual
vibration.
vibration. And so she's there and I kind of tapped into her energy and they showed me the real her and she was dancing and dancing and dancing and moving and the music was so beautiful and I'm describing this to her. And the angel takes his finger, you see, he's over there, and he spins her a little bit. And then he absolutely pauses her. And so she's
What?
standing there on
Pauses.
my stage in kind of a vase shape. She's got one arm up and one foot up, and she's just on one pointy toe, one foot, one leg, and she's just standing there. And the angel says, she needs restorative healing. And he brings out and I don't know which angel this one was, but a great big orange droplet. And it was all sparkly like like stars were in
Fun.
it. And he's like, so you need to ask her if that she accepts this healing. And I explained to her, about the orange liquid, about the angel
Mhm.
asking to do a restorative healing. And she said yes. And he dropped the liquid into her. And then he let her go again and let
Okay.
her dance some more. And
Right.
then,
Read it first.
uh, and so what it was that she had a mission to heal teenagers. Her son was a
Wow.
teenager, and all these teenagers were always at her house, and she felt the need to spiritually talk to them, help guide them, and she was feeling very, very low, very low. She was taking on their troubles, and it was weighing
Right.
her way down. And the message that she got after she got this healing was, remember, their journeys are their journeys. Your journey is your journey. And I have to say, that whole weekend that I read at the fair, I swear to God, I had to say that every time I read, like their
Wow.
journey is their journey,
There
your
are
journey is
little
your
trends
journey.
that happen. that I've noticed in readings like that. So it seems like all at one time, it'll just be a burst of this kind of energy coming through, no matter who's
Mhm.
doing the reading, you know?
Right.
That's
And it
wild.
was, yeah, it was really interesting because even looking at her after we were done, she looked lighter, like she had, you know, and they also had encouraged her to listen to music. And if I remember right, they gave her a song too. And she was like, "Oh, that's my favorite song." And I'm like, "Well, they want you to play it. They want you to dance around a little bit more. They want you to they want, oh, I remember. The drop was also to lighten her up, to just lighten her spirit up, to restore and lighten her up. And that was amazing. I just really felt
I
that.
can understand that. We all tend to take life too seriously. I get so many messages of lighten up. You're retired now. Have a good time. You're supposed to be having fun. You know, it's not all doom and gloom. You need to go out and do fun things. Go dance.
Yeah,
Do her
yeah,
when finishes it.
yeah.
Okay.
Do we have anything that we need to look at in the chat or
Only one I
anybody?
see. That was the second part of that one. But Gertrude's here. She just arrived, and I saw Jan's Free and Sun Psychic Jean are here now, and Lark Kemper.
Mhm.
Thanks, guys, for showing up today. It's great to
Yeah.
see you. And thanks for the comments. If you have comments, please put them in that you want us to highlight. Please put them in caps with emojis because I'm blind as a bat.
I am
It's
too. So
So
yeah.
please, if you have messages for us or questions or just
Yeah.
comments that you want us to read out, we'll be happy to if you'll just put them in
Mhm.
caps and emojis for the old lady
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah. You know,
I love the
the
stories of angels. I think angels are just incredible.
other,
And the
mhm.
more I love that you're getting so many healings through them these days.
Right. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm grouping them all up as I'm talking, that they don't happen every single time I read, but
No, I
um,
understand.
back to the romance. Back to romance. So uh I was at the fair and this drop dead gorgeous woman walked up to my booth. I mean, she was probably about 65, maybe a little older, but she was freaking drop dead gorgeous. And she bends down because she was very tall, gazelle like practically, and says, "Do you believe in God?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, I believe in God." And she says, "Let's do it." So she comes
Oh,
into
I
my
love
booth.
it.
That's how we started out. Let's do it.
I love
So
that.
So she told me that she's been working on her career as a fashion designer for a long time and that she had no time for love in all these years. But now she wants love in her life. She wants a partner. And part of me that's kind of like, oh, gets that
Scary.
little like, oh, and but they were right there, settled me down, settled my hash down right away. So she
Good.
sets down and I'm looking at her. And also that weekend, there was another trend that I noticed that when they wanted to talk about love and romance, I saw curly cues. Like another lady was asking about her relationship and if it were going to happen, if it was ever going to happen that they got married and stuff. And they set her on a chair on my stage and I noticed that all the wood on the chair was curly, just it was the most carved up chair I ever saw. And I started to recognize this means romance, this means love. To me this is
Interesting.
every everybody's going to have a different
Sure.
dictionary, but I just recognized that that was what they were showing me. So this lady sits down and I'm tuning in and an angel shows up and the angel says to me, she must be healed before we send romance into her life. And I'm just saying this to the lady. I'm just saying what I hear. And the angel, instead of like a drop, this time the angel is holding a vase, the most curly cued vase, like agacanthus leaves, something very, like Italian, just over the top carved silver vase, silver liquid in it. And he said, she must drink this, but first she has to say yes if she wants this to happen. The lady says yes, and the angel hands it to me. I get to hold this gorgeous vase. I mean, gorgeous vase. And I explained to her that she has to drink it, and I move my physical hands out and hand her the vase, and this lady takes the vase from me. She's
Good for
completely
her.
completely with me. And she closes her eyes and she drinks it slowly. And as she's drinking this liquid that's going to heal her and prepare her for love, I am getting so hot. My whole body is on fire. It's heating me up until I have to grab an oracle card and start fanning. And she's still drinking, and I'm getting so hot. Whatever was happening with her was happening. There was an effect in me, and I was getting really hot. It just really, and increasing my vibration way high. I felt like I could practically vibrate off the chair.
Wow.
And she drinks it, and she looks at me, and she has this beautiful beautiful spiritual look on her face that is I just can't even quite describe
Wow.
what I saw. It was more than her beauty, because she was very beautiful. It was this spiritual beauty. And then the angel went on to describe the man she's going to meet,
Wow.
and what he's like, kind of what he looks like, how he's going to act, how she's going to be able to identify him. And then she also had a question about her career. Will she get the pinnacle of what she wants? And she will. And
Yay.
it was just freaking amazing. After I read her, I had to walk around a little bit to try to cool down. That was hot.
Fun. Oh, that's a fascinating read.
Yeah, that was, and I could see him perfectly. It was
That's
just,
really
it
cool.
was
We've
so
had
amazing.
experiences where we got super hot with certain beings that I would channel.
Right.
I don't remember ever being cold, but I can remember some
Yeah.
of them making you just like you say,
Yeah.
you need a car.
So much energy you
So
need.
much
Right.
energy. So
Yeah.
powerful, I guess.
Yeah. It's really, it's, I don't want to say it's disconcerting, but I was like, when's she going to quit? How's she going to get over this? Because this is really hot.
Hurry up.
I didn't want to hurry her, but I'm like, oh man. But the other thing that was interesting is after she drank that, I could physically put up my hand. I could feel her energy.
Energy change.
Like I could
Look at
feel
this.
I could feel her energy. It was really strong. I mean, super strong. Yeah, I could just like, okay, wow. I could feel it all around her, like with my physical. I had to do
Wow.
that because I'm curious. That thankfully she was a good sport and let me feel her spirit up a little. But
How could you not? I mean, I think that's why all of us are here. We're all curious as hell about everything, and we all react differently to each thing that happens to it. We all have our own individuality as far as how the information comes to us. I love it.
Mm-hmm. I just, it's very, very interesting. And I keep actually seeing little bits of different liquids. Like I was reading on Allie's show I'd say about a month ago. And in the meditations beforehand, I saw an angel standing there with some purple liquid. And I'm like, who gets that?
Purple.
But I didn't get to use it. It didn't happen. So maybe whoever was supposed to ask the question didn't ask the question. And it didn't come in. But I was kind of like, I want to see what that purple does.
Yeah, no kidding. I got what reminds me of a sake bottle the other night that they had. My gift was like a sake bottle. I
Wow.
was like, okay, and what's that for? Don't know.
Yeah. I love, they're always doing something very, very interesting. Well, I'd also, I mean, so that's the angel healings I picked out this time to talk about. But I also wanted to talk about the grace of God in action. Because one of the things as we read people, and I think everybody who reads people experiences these things as well, is sometimes you see the grace of God in action as you're doing that. So the grace of God in action in these is an angel coming and doing a healing that somebody needs. And they're not even asking for that healing. They it's God or the creator or the source,
Spirit, whatever.
whatever, knowing what we need. Sometimes I see it in ways that just knocks me off my feet. And this is one of those where that I just blown the freak away, just completely blown away. So this was at the same fair that I saw a lot of this at.
Does most of this seem to happen at fairs? It seems these are mostly fairs. So it's in
Yes.
person, it seems to happen more.
Right. It does happen over Zoom when I'm reading over Zoom, but at the fairs, this is when I'm actually in person, 3D with somebody in front of me, the energy is off the charts.
Right.
And these things happen. And so this time, a young Asian woman, maybe early 30s, sat down and wanted to be read. And she said, I would like to hear from my parents, Mia and Willie. And I thought just for a second, I thought, wow, she's a little young to have both parents on the other side. I wonder if that she's the youngest baby and they were older, or I just made note of that.
Yeah,
that's a little odd. And so right away, I didn't even get to say the little mantra I do. Right away, my stage and this one happened on a stage. They don't all happen on a stage. They can do this anywhere, but my whole vision started filling up with this light green pastel clouds or smoke, like the I Dream of Jeannie bottle in the old the thing, and it was just just filled and right away I knew that this was like heart chakra love, that this big cloud meant big time love is coming to my stage, big time love.
Wow.
And as the clouds started to clear, there was Mia and Willie on my stage. Mia and so Willie had his arm around the shoulders of Mia. Mia had her arm, across his back, and they're standing kind of in a V. It's kind of facing, they're slightly facing each other and me. Mm-hmm. And I can tell these two love each other. I mean, this is why we had the big time love clouds coming in. These two, I can tell right away, just even being there, these two have traveled together through many, many lifetimes as soul partners. They are connected. They haven't been like brother and sister or niece and nephew or anything like that. These two love each other. And the love was pretty strong. But they did dim it a little bit, because when I see love on the stage like that, I start crying.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm not a big crier, but boy, that will start the
Makes
tears.
me
So
cry every time.
yeah, they did dim it down just a little so I wasn't crying through this, but she was crying through this. I can tell you that. She cried for 30 minutes. So I described how Willie looked and his attitude and how he was. And he was just a really good working guy, stand-up guy. The guy you wanted to talk to at the party, he was a fair father, tough but fair. And I described what he was wearing, and she said, 100%, that's him, 100%. I'm like, okay. And then I moved to Mia. And Mia, I couldn't really see her face clearly, but what she did something. She held out her free arm, and from her arm, the cloth unraveled, kind of rolled down, and it was a butterfly wing. It was like a swallowtail butterfly wing. And I'm like, that's what she's showing. And she said, we didn't have to say anything more. She said, 100%, that's my mom. And
Wow.
since I'll forget at the end, I'll tell you how she told me at the end what that meant, why that she knew that was her mom. So after her mom died, this woman has a 3-year-old, and every time they go outside and they see a butterfly, the 3-year-old, without any prompting, nobody told him this, nobody said that, he will start chasing it, yelling, Grammy, Grammy, Grammy. So she was just showing, yep, it's me. And I'm showing him as butterfly.
Oh, that's lovely.
I know. That was just crazy, wonderful. And so they start talking and they start giving her a message, a very lovely message. I don't remember exactly what the message was now, but at one point, Mia gives Willie a really coy look, really loving, coy look, and she slowly pushes him away to the side of the stage. And she comes close to me, and for the first time, I got a whisper. Now, my friend Sun Psychic Jean often has beings whisper in her ear, but I hadn't gotten one till now. And Mia came up and she whispered in my ear, and she said, will you tell her that I'm one of her spirit guides? And I'm like, okay. She says, Willie can't know because he'll be very jealous. So just tell her, but don't tell Willie, and goes back and gives him that coy look to invite him back. And I'm like, I mean, really, the love was so thick.
It's adorable.
Yeah. And then Mia goes on to give her daughter a message, and it involved food. She's like, I taught you to make these foods, and I want you to know I made them with love for you, love for the people. So please keep making my recipes. Please keep the love moving, basically. And when Mia showed me the food, I looked at it and I'm like, oh, you're Filipino. Because it was all Filipino, lumpia and all Filipino foods that I knew. But I didn't know she was Filipino. And she said, yes, I'm Filipino. And I'm like, wow. So it was just a lovely thing. They were so loving. Even I loved them after, I was in love with these two. And it was starting to be done. I at these shows I only read for about 30 minutes, but I'll be honest, I read till we're done. So, and about minute 38, the woman said, and they're kind of drifting off a little bit, and the woman said, can you ask them a question for me? And she said, could you ask them if we will get justice for their deaths? And I'm like, and she says they were instantly killed together by a drunk driver. And I'm like, I'm just like devastated because I love them too, and I'm just like, oh my God, what a huge loss for this family. These two are so loving. They're so vital. They're so, I mean, I can see a whole family relying on these two. And they actually have drifted off a little bit, and they're a little bit down in my vision because they're kind of moving off a little. And I ask that, but they stay there. They're not in the middle of the stage anymore. They stay there and they answer my question. And this is where I saw the grace of God in action. So I asked Willie and me, I said, will your family get justice in the 3D world for your deaths? And they still have their arms around each other. They look at each other really coyly. And I can also tell they don't care. They do not care about whether they get justice for the deaths. This is what was supposed to happen. This is where they're going. And so Willie comes forward just a little bit more and he says, maybe they might get justice on that side for our death. But I wouldn't count on it too much. Maybe. So he's talking, he's starting to talk more. He said, on this side, they will get justice for our deaths because the person who hit us is going to have to go through a life review. They're going to have to feel all of your pain. They're going to have to go through all the pain and the pain of all the loved ones that missed them. And I didn't ask, but I kind of wondered if that he'd have to feel my pain because I'm feeling pain at this point for them. You know,
that's a really incredible lesson when you think about it. It doesn't matter whether they get justice here or not. That's why you can let it go because they're going to pay for it one way or the other on the other side.
Right.
They're going to go through for whatever they've caused you.
Yeah.
That's a really big lesson for all of us to pay attention to.
Huge lesson.
Yeah, but it really doesn't matter. Don't make it your life's ambition to find it.
Yeah. Because you see people who have lost their children to drunk drivers or things, and they just never get over that pain, and they're constantly looking to get for the other person to pay for it, and it just destroys their life.
Right. And just justifiably so. I mean, this is a huge loss.
Yeah, I can understand it.
And I think so. As I'm doing this thinking, okay, I know what's going to happen next, that maybe he's going to talk to her about forgiveness and things like that. Because, I was raised Christian. So I think, oh, we all have to forgive. I'm all on that. And then the lesson goes on. And Willie says, and I understand this is not just Willie, this is kind of God saying, this is them on the other side being in touch with God, knowing what to say. And he says, daughter, I am not going to ask you to try for forgiveness. I think that's too hard for you right now. I think it's way too hard. So I did get the kind of hint that maybe later on, maybe as time goes on, he says, this is what I want you to do. All I want you to do is try for peace. Try for peace. That's all I want you to do. Try for peace. And Mia comes forward, and I can now see my client's soul, like her heart, her soul. And Mia leans forward and just blows 3 little clouds into her soul. Just blows 3 little clouds. The little clouds are there. And then I see Willie take his hand, put it into his daughter's soul, and press down a little bit on these 3 little clouds. And then I see the girl's soul. It's gonna be hard to get my hands this way. I see the girl's soul reach in a hand, and together Willie and her, they just kind of compress the little peace clouds into this vanilla cookie sandwich of peace.
Wow, that is so cool.
And I'm just like, oh my! I mean, I can
blown
tell.
Away.
They're probably using the cookie analogy just because, I like cookies. But it was just this cookie of peace in her soul.
Beautiful.
And I was just like, oh, my I'm just like, that's when I'm like, oh my God, I am witnessing the grace of God. I am witnessing them being able to reach into her own soul to respond. And it's just like, oh,
That's just an amazing gift you have.
it just blew me away. I was
Yeah.
just like, I was just like, yeah. And
Yeah. That's just beautiful.
Right. And it's so great that you relate all those things because you are so gifted to be able to see these things and
mhm,
other people don't see it.
And
But you,
share them with those that can't.
exactly, by
mhm,
sharing it, everybody else also knows it. And
mhm.
that's so great. Don't
Yeah.
ever stop.
Yeah. We
I
we
won't.
need Terry's tales.
Definitely.
It's just, and they're wonderful reminders of certain things
Mhm.
for each and every one of
Yeah.
us. We can
They
all
aren't
learn from those.
exactly.
Yeah,
They aren't just tales.
Mm-mm.
right.
They're
I,
very
They
important.
are important. I'm
Yes.
glad you're sharing them with us all.
Well, we
yeah,
really appreciate it.
I'm just always so blown away about, I quite don't know quite how to say this, but how that sometimes we learn the wrong things in religion. That, uh,
Absolutely. They taught us everything backwards.
so some of it's about control. They tried to control us.
Mhm.
They were scared. But I think that is still that's good information for us to know. I wouldn't want anyone to suddenly say, "Oh, the way Terry does it is the only way to do it." No,
No,
don't
because we all
make a
have different
religion out of
ways of
that.
doing it. No, there's
Right.
no guru, no
Mhm.
gurus. We have to all learn from within and how to do it ourselves.
And I
Mhm.
just got that you do have a dual purpose. The one
Oh,
purpose is to use your gift, and the other purpose is to relate to everybody else what you find from that gift,
What you're
oh,
doing.
what you're doing.
good. I really do truly feel like I'm finally doing what I was supposed to be doing all my life. So,
We feel the
Exactly.
same way.
Yeah. You
yeah.
are doing what you need to
It's like
do,
we're fine.
and you're also relating it. So it's
Mhm.
perfect.
Yeah. I think it's so important to share our experiences with others because as the veil thins, there's more and more people that are going to experience these things and realize, no, you're not a fortune teller. There's no
Yeah.
fortune telling here. That's not what this is about.
Right.
Right.
That's a good thing because all you're showing is love and acceptance from the
Mhm.
other side, constantly support, love and
Right.
Constantly.
acceptance.
And as everybody has been making comments, it's absolutely beautiful to hear those things.
Yeah. I'm always blown away by the
Yeah.
Yes.
love they show for us.
Right.
There's nobody who's sat down in my booth or on YouTube that they are like, "Oh, that one's not
No,
good."
No,
we don't
no,
want
no.
that one. That one goes back.
Never heard that.
And when you
Never.
retell about those things, that love comes through.
Yeah,
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
does come through.
I am actually really surprised I could tell the Mia and Willie story without like starting my teeth to chatter. The Usually when I tell that one, that my vibration goes way up, my frequency, and I start chattering, because I just it's so intense. And thank God they were allowed me to tell that without
Thank
kind of
you, Willie and Mia. We appreciate that.
Though you know
yeah.
it's important,
Yeah.
Hmm.
especially with this
Yeah.
group.
Yes,
Yeah.
to share with
And
this group
and
in
it
particular.
shows that, let's say you're pushing yourself really hard, like, I should be able to get over this, or I should be able to forgive that person, or I am supposed to have been over this problem at work that's been bugging me for 20 years. That's not how they look at it,
Mm-mm.
you
Mm-mm.
know? And so I really think that what they're always showing us is take a different view. Cut
Right.
yourself a little slack and
Yeah.
take a different view, take a different thing. Try for peace instead of forgiveness. Try
I thought
for,
that was perfect.
yeah,
Step back and take a different
Baby
angle.
steps.
You
Baby
know.
steps.
yeah. Now, I'm not saying forgiveness is off the table. I'm not saying that because
no,
I do,
because it'll come in the end, but first she has to find peace within herself so she can forgive.
right. And I think that forgiveness is important in that it can be something can be a big burden on you. It
Mhm.
can be dragging you down um,
Right.
to hold
Yeah,
a grudge.
not the other person, because they're gonna have to deal with whatever they're gonna have to deal with here
Right.
and there. It's important for us to forgive for ourselves so that we
Yeah.
can let it go and not let anger and or hurt or hate or whatever eat us up, because
Right.
that's what ends up happening when you can't let it go.
Don't let it rule your lives.
It rules your life and eats you up, and that pretty much sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
You don't want that to suck.
No, I don't.
No.
So
Well,
we're almost at 4 o'clock. How are you doing sitting? Are you ready to go
No, I'm still
to another
okay.
chair? You're good?
No, we're okay yet.
Yeah.
yeah.
I was
Well,
worried about her sitting up.
Well,
I'm
I
actually,
move.
there's only one more thing I really have to say,
Okay.
which is what I'm getting out of all these healings, what I'm getting out of seeing the grace of God in action is, I mean, one of the bottom lines is we're allowed to be human here.
Yes.
That's why we're here.
They know that we're going to have to forgive. We're going to be hateful once in a while. We're going to wake up on the wrong side of the bed once in a while. They know, and they're not up there saying, "We're watching you." They're not.
No, I used to think it would be a very judgy. I don't want the people watching what I'm doing. What is this? They're watching out over you. But it's all done with love. There's no judgment on the other side at all.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all unconditional love and compassion. They understand what the hell we're going through.
Yeah, and we're
Yeah.
going through this for a reason. This is an adventure we're on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes good, sometimes not so good, and sometimes fabulous.
Look
But
Yeah.
at
right now, it's
Sphere.
good. What
Yeah.
does she
All
say?
the bottom.
Yes.
Yeah. Sphere, I agree with you. Being
I have
human
to
is
agree.
very humbling.
It's very
Yeah.
humbling.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, any more about our angels? Anything you want to say in conclusion about the angel healings? I'm saying keep it up. I want one.
Yep. Yep. Whether it's a healing or not, it's just.
Right. Well,
But it sounds like you're doing more healings as you go.
Yeah.
yeah, they're happening more often. And like I said, if a healing that I've talked about appeals to somebody, they can borrow that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've had a friend that listened to me talk about some sort of healing, and they went in, they asked the angel for the drop, and then they went to somebody else's healing center, that's in spirit, not in physical,
Yes. Yes.
and did a healing. Go ahead, do that.
Absolutely. I have to show these up. Show these.
Mm-hmm.
Not all. Oh, you don't have to say that. But thank you, Juno. I appreciate that.
Dave Maud, hi. We haven't seen you in a bit. Nice to see you. And Valerie, thanks for being here, you guys. We appreciate it. So what's up next for you, Miss Terri?
So, like I said, I'm going to take some test journeys on
Oh, that's right.
Monday night and Wednesday night. I'm going to resend out the email maybe Monday morning or maybe tonight, so people have a little bit of time if they want to talk to me. I mean, it just depends on how many people want to go.
Mm-hmm.
It'll
be funny to see 12, 15 people there tomorrow.
I think I could handle 12 or 15, but 20 might be like, oh my God.
Oh no, whatever you get, they said, you will handle.
I'm going to do it.
You will. You know you will. Well, we have a couple of shows this week. We're going to be on, God, my brain, Gertrude's show on Friday. I think it's Friday.
And then, of course, we have Tuesday's show.
Oh, and we're going to do a Valentine's show on Tuesday. So we're going to get back into our routine of Tuesdays and Saturdays now that Heather's doing so damn good. And so we're going to do a show, of course, on Valentine's Day about Valentines, right?
Exactly.
And then Friday, we're on Gertrude. We're a guest on Gertrude's show. Thank you, Gertrude, at 3:00 Eastern. And then Sunday, I have something different planned. Next Sunday, we have the Bhakti House Band, which is a kirtan band. And my friend Jill and I were out doing yoga one day, and I have been using this band's first album for yoga for years. There's just something about it. I adore it. I just keep using it. So Jill said, why don't you invite him to be on the show? So I did. And they accepted. And they're going to be on next Sunday. And they're going to play some music and maybe do some mantras. So we'll see and let people know what they're going to do. I have 3 of their albums. I'm not sure if they have 4. But they started out and they live in Fort Worth, Texas, which is where I'm from. And they used to come to my wellness center and do kirtan. And they also had just recorded their first album, which is the one that I love for yoga. So that's really exciting. It'll be a lot of fun. So that's next Sunday. And from there, oh my God, I don't know. And then I think we're on Allie's show next Friday. So that'll be fun.
And that's besides our regular show.
And that's besides our regular show. Like I said, we're going to be back on our schedule come Tuesday. We're going to do a Valentine's show. So that'll be fun.
That's going to be fun. And I also want to invite the audience that if you live in the Seattle area, that this coming weekend, I'm going to be at Bellevue, and I'm going to have a booth at the MeWe Fair at the Bellevue Hilton. And I also that night on Saturday night will be taking anybody who shows up on a journey. So
it's going to be so much fun. You're going to have a blast.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're going to be great at it. So I guess it's time to say goodbye to everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday afternoon. And thanks for being here. And Terri, of course, thank you so much for your beautiful stories. I love these experiences.
And I love being back with all of you and appreciate everybody's well wishes. I can feel it. I mean, otherwise I wouldn't feel this good.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember one request that I was supposed to make. If just really quick at the end here, if everybody would pray for my dog, send healing to my dog, Emma dog. She has a little growth on her lip, and we're going to go to the doctor tomorrow. Last time that one of my dogs had something wrong with them, I said that on the show. The chat must have been working overtime because I left that show to take her to the vet, and the vet, she was completely healed. The vet looked at me like, what kind of nut
chat
do?
room?
Come on, chat room. That's
make
great.
me look like a nut again, okay?
Oh, look at this. Amanda Carroll's in Seattle. Yay. And Hypnicity said she'll see you there, Terri.
Cool.
How fun. That is fantastic.
Okay.
Well, sending lots of love to all of you guys. And if you can, go out and see Terri next weekend. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, we love you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And hopefully we'll see you Tuesday. That would be terrific.
Thank
Bye.
You.
Bye.